recording now. All right. Steven, what's your favorite type of meat to eat?
My I would probably have to say chicken. I think chicken's very versatile in almost every food, and it's in almost every culture.
What's your favorite way to like eat chicken actually? There's so many different ways, right? You said it's versatile.
Right now, I'm more so working on my physique, because I go to the gym a lot. So I try to eat bake a plain baked chicken.
Like plain chicken, like chicken
Yeah,
breast.
like it's just chicken breast with broccoli,
You
and
know,
then it's usually plain.
like what Popeyes or like any like fried chicken place or like just chicken in general. Like, what's your favorite part for it? The thigh, the breast, the with the wing.
Um, I think that it should always be breast. Is that the one where it's like the big like the big
Yeah,
square or triangle?
it's the big like how do you say?
It's like triangle, right? Triangle.
Yeah, it's triangle. It has like the
I think that should I think that's the only answer. And then if you answer drumstick, you're like a child.
I like the breast too, cause it's like with seasoning and stuff. You put it in, it's not bad. But then it's also like I describe like the purest in a way. Like it's not really fat right around it. It's just pure chicken, like pure meat. You know, like it's like how like if you eat like a chicken wing, the meat is like a little different. Like it's easier to chew. It might have like more flavor plus like the skin and like the tendons around it. But then
Mhm.
yeah, like chicken breast
Uh,
not bad
uh,
too.
do you eat the cartilage on chicken?
Sometimes like
Why is it sometimes not always?
I don't know. It's like just depending on like how I eat it. Like I'm really hungry, I
Mm.
just devour everything. But
Uh,
for the most part, yeah.
because for like 99% of the time, I will always clean my chicken. Like
Yeah,
bones and everything. Yeah.
yeah. I try to do that
Like
too.
the only thing I leave is the bone. Like
Oh,
cartilage gone, meat gone, tendons gone.
so with your sister, right? Like when you guys share when you guys get like chicken wings and like stuff like that, right? Like wings
Mhm.
and thighs or whatever, right? Like for me, like has this ever happened to you? My brother always does this to this day. He likes the wing over the drumstick part. Like the chicken wing over the small chicken drumstick, right? And he always just eats it, then leaves the drumsticks for me to eat, like, 'cause he just likes it more. Like, has that ever happened
Um,
to you?
mm, I think that's more so with other foods, but not so much specifically chicken.
I see. 'Cause I just found it so weird. Like, he's done it all this time. Like, he just really likes he doesn't like the drumstick, you know? 'Cause the drumstick is actually more similar to the chicken breast in terms of like it's like harder meat, I guess, right? Like
Mm.
different texture. Because the wing definitely has a different texture than like the drumstick and like it's a little harder at the sides and stuff. But yeah. Uh well for me, with meat like probably gonna be like steak. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, steak, but why? Why is it so good?" Like it doesn't really offer too much except for the way that you can like prepare it and cook it. But it's just my personal opinion to for some reason like steak mixed it with being marbled and like having the fat in the sides and for me it's at like a perfect consistency to chew and it's good with a bunch of other things too with it but like steak itself alone like I just like the
I, th-
taste a little more.
I think steak is almost always grossly overpriced, no matter where you are. Right?
That's true. Like, and I feel like quality though of steak matters a lot with price. Like they correlate strongly, you know? Like chicken is chicken, right? You can make chicken better with different seasonings, but at the end of the day, like you're not gonna really get shitty chicken, right? But like you can get like a shitty steak or or not even shitty, but it's like a normal steak that you buy at Albertsons, right? Compared to going to Japan with their fucking curated like steaks and stuff like that.
Uh, d- do you think that we would think eating other animals would be better? Like for instance, if we ate. I don't want to say dog, but then in this instance I want to say dog. But because we've been eating like cows, pigs, chickens for many years, right? And then we see eating dogs as weird, right? But then if we just started eating dogs in the beginning, I feel like it'd be very normal, right?
I think it's a cultural difference, for the most part. Like, in more third world countries, like you eat with like, like whatever's like that's not human that you can eat, like you're probably gonna eat it, right? I feel like,
Hmm.
and like it's just like it's also the culture, right? Like in America, for example, is like we have something known as pets, like so the and dogs is one of the domesticated pets,
What
right? Like
then,
the number
then
one, I
then
think.
how is it any different when someone raises a cow, right? And then their family ends up eating a cow. How's that any different?
Mm,
Because
because
was
they
that cow not
seed,
their pet, right?
yeah, because like the cows, like they see the cow as like their livestock, like their farm, It's like
Hmm.
you're farming cows, but you don't farm dogs, right? But in the third world countries, they farm dogs. Uh, and like the cultural thing, like I don't think there are pets like how they describe it in America, like there are pets like how they describe it in other, third world countries, for example, right? It's like it's and there's laws too, right? So that also limits people from eating stuff. But yeah, let's say from the beginning of all time, right? Like if we just kept eating dogs as a normal thing, um, we probably would be eating dogs. Like, but I don't know, cause like things change with that. I feel like why eat
Then then uh
dogs
then
when
would you eat a dog
mm,
if
probably
the
not.
meat was already prepared? No, why?
Um, it's not like that I feel guilty. I'd probably try it, right? Like I'd try it, but I think I wouldn't like it. I already like my dad explained to me like it's very gamey, like or like it's
Yeah,
very
but then
hard and tough. And that's what I was gonna point out earlier, actually, with some food, right? Like with dog. Like let's say
mhm.
we ate dog, but it's so much easier to like eat chicken, like 'cause chicken produces
What do you
more.
mean easier? What do you mean easier? But
Or
because a lot of meat, but because I feel like because we live in North America, right?
for example,
Or the US, like we are very sheltered when it comes to like a lot of different types of actual like.
I was thinking more along like this, right? Like in terms of resource wise, chickens yield less, like like you can have more chickens in an area than dogs, right? And then chickens, like dogs, what are you gonna use them for food, right? Like only like it's just like their meat. I don't know if dog skin is a thing, but yeah, right. But otherwise, it's just for their meat, right? But then like chickens, they produce eggs too, right? So like that's like another resource. Like that's like a better alternative than dog. Like cows have milk, right? And we use it for many things like cheese, right? Um,
Mm.
and like meat, right? So, uh, but I feel like um, if the concept of pets evolves where like dogs are in, like for America, right? If the concept of pets like starts bringing dogs as pets, right? And like we domesticated dogs, like then of course, we're just not gonna end up eating them. It's gonna be illegal in some way or something like that. But overall, like, yeah. But going back to what you asked me with like eating dog, I try it. I wouldn't feel that bad, right? Like, oh shit, I'm eating like, cause I have, I'm eating Jax or something, eating my dog, right? I wouldn't feel bad. It's just like,
You,
it's more
you
natural,
you
right?
wouldn't feel bad eating your dog?
Oh no, I'm like, just eating dog. Like if you like, remember you said like you had prepared dog, I wouldn't feel that bad, right? Like just because it's how I see it is like, what's the difference from like a random dog that you don't know, right? And then like it's already dead too, right? Or like a cow, like how about shark fin soup, Like that's illegal in some places, but like like people still eat it and stuff like that. So for me, like I would try it, but I probably wouldn't be eating it. Like yeah, let's go get dog. One, it's hard to get, and two, like uh, I probably just won't like it. But yeah. That segued into a bunch of other stuff because it's really just me asking you what my food is. But Um, all right, you want to go?
I'm the one that asked that question.
No, like I originally talked with like best like what's your favorite type of meat to eat, you know?
Hmm.
And I think I don't know. Do you want me to talk more about steak?
Here,
Otherwise,
here, I'll ask a question. People who do not work in STEM or high level of paying job like business or things like that, or like digital marketing or like things like that, right? Should not expect a better quality of life.
so people that don't work in STEM or like any of the other
Or
more important like bit like
or like
jobs
or like yeah, like something like that.
should not.
Should not expect a better quality of life. Like let's
I
say if I
see.
major in gender studies or English or like history, and then I was like, and then my thought process was like, but I went to college, I got my bachelor's, like I should be like getting paid like et cetera, like sixty thousand
Yeah,
dollars.
okay. Uh, I'll go first with that then because you asked me. I kind of agree with that. Where like, it's not the same. Just because like I feel like it's more on the simple side. Like if we make it more simple and easy to understand, it's like, all right, gender studies. Right, let's say 4 years for a degree in gender study and 4 years for a computer science degree, for example. Right. Computer science can do so much more with the way our world is now, especially in America, like with our technology, like we're like, it's ever changing and always important, always relevant, right? And I guess you could
Mhm.
say gender studies is more relevant than ever too, right? But like what is gender studies gonna do compared to like working in anything in the STEM field that will keep like us prospering as humans
So,
from
so
because
then why do you think so many people major in those very not lacking in job or job opportunity bachelors?
um
Like, because I know a lot of people that major in communications. I know a lot of people that major in like English, history, or like yeah,
Uh,
things like that.
I, as my like personally, I think it's just the workload itself, because like computer science, engineering, nurse, like doing anything in the STEM field does require like uh pretty good college education, right? Like you have to get through it. Like it's not easy, because if it was easy, everyone would be doing it, right? But if it was easy, then like how would that help us when they get their degrees, when they work out in the field and they don't know what to do, you know? Like imagine getting a degree and you're like for mechanical engineering and like you worked on 3 cars and they blow up, right? Like,
Hmm.
so like it's really important because like it's not just quality of life, like there's safety within it too, right? Like if you're a nuclear scientist, right, or like do that biochemical engineering stuff, right? Like a lot of the things you work with are super dangerous and hazardous, so you need to be like like surgeons too, right? Like you have to be good, right? But yeah, going back to what you're saying, like um yeah, I don't think that someone in gender studies like or like communications. Let's do communications. Communication is important too, but like let's say those type of groups of like job descriptions right there, right? It's like it would be it's not as important as one of the STEM jobs. Just logically, like how that's just how it is, you know.
Because I think I would go as far to think that you don't need to go to college if it's not in STEM or like something majoratory like business or like digital marketing or like genuine skills that you actually need. Cause like let's say you major in business, and then you want to be a consultant or something, right?
Mhm.
You, you'd have to take economic classes, right? Like that's just a given, or be certified or have any proof in some way that you know what you're talking about when it comes to that like foreign economics, right?
Mhm.
So I would say like school there is kind of important. But then, if you want to major in like English or gender studies or other things like that, then I don't think school is necessary at all.
Okay, let me ask you this then though. So how about so let's say school, like you said, school is not necessary for those type of things. But how about for the people that, let's say coding, for example, right? How
Mm.
they offer coding boot camps at school, and yes, you need like computer science degree, you get it. But let's say you're one of those freelance coders and you learn it yourself. You learn C++ yourself. You learn like this and you do it and you become a really good coder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but you didn't go to college, you know. But you made your own
Mm-hmm.
projects and you've worked with people and you've like, you know, you were able to do interns because of that and like get in, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah, I feel like that happens more often than it happens more and more often, like every day. Because something like that, um, I think it's more so. I think it's more so just hard to get that first step in the door when it comes to tech companies. You know, like
hmm
but as soon as you get that first hand on that first job, it becomes a lot easier. You just have to prove that you know what you're talking about when it comes to that
yeah.
kind of.
And I think what you're saying, right, to segue on, like, to prove, a big way to prove is going to college to get that degree, right, for
Yeah,
certain
like I
thing.
don't like that degree or that piece of paper means something to certain companies.
Yeah.
And then certain colleges do have connections
Yeah.
to certain companies that you might want to work at, you know, or
Yeah.
certain colleges might have a connection to certain companies.
Yeah. But yeah, overall the question, like, if someone is getting paid in gender studies 60K and someone is getting paid in computer science 60K and that gender studies person is complaining or something like, oh, how come, like, you know, I'm not paying more, or let's say if the computer person made more, right, like, how's
Hmm.
that fair? Well, I feel like what we were just talking about earlier is to validate it. It's not like, oh, like, your personal choice, right, is the bias or anything like that. It's more so like, what is your career and your job, like, is it going to be affecting the world more, right? Or like compared to that, like, you have to just compare it. It's like there should be no personal feelings into it, you know? Like, like if I like worked for Elon Musk and building like his fucking SpaceX shit, right? Like, that is pretty crazy, right? And that's like trying to make humanity go far above the earth. But if I'm like, you know, let's say, like, communications, right? Like, I'm talking to people and trying to do like foreign stuff, like going around and being translator, right? Uh, it's cool and all too. It helps people, but not on that scale. You know, like the
Hmm.
scaling is just different. Let's just say that the scaling is on a whole
Hmm.
different level. That's about it. Uh, all right. So, we probably talked about this before, but like, here's put out a hypothetical. At like what age would you let your child play video games? Assuming that like in the future you have a child, like what age? What's the minimum?
The minimum, I'll go based on firsthand experience. I'd probably say 6, 7. Wait, 8, 8.
Interesting.
Because the first game I've ever played is it was one of those old pinball games, you know,
Mhm.
like on the computer where you like use like the two shift keys or something, and then it was like it was in the shape of a bear. I'm not sure if you know what I'm talking about.
It probably something similar, yeah.
And then I played that. That was my very first video game, and then after that I didn't really play a lot of video games. Like I played like the basic stuff for our generation, like Wizard 101, you know, like
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
yeah, like just things like that. But I was never really into. I never really saw the
Merit
saw
in
like
playing video games.
the COD or like shooting games or
Mm.
anything like that until I was late into middle school. You know,
Yeah. Like for me,
it's called 3D Pinball Space Cadet.
oh yeah.
That was the one that came with the
That
Windows. You know,
that
like
yeah, that was lit. That was the best. I'd play that on my dad's
yeah,
old
that was the
computer.
only video game I played ever as a kid in elementary. Because unless you're talking about like the DS or something,
Yeah.
where I'd play like Mario or Pokemon. But then like yeah, like I was probably second grade and beyond. So I think that's age 8 or 9 or something.
Yeah. Like personally, like for me, like, at what age would I like let my child? Honestly, I do it like this, right? Because when I think of video games, right, I feel like there's many different types of video games, for example, right? Like like
Hmm.
when I was younger, I never got to play games usually, or the games that I played were like the casual family fun Wii games, right? But the games that I was allowed to play are the ones that help me with my extracurriculars, like cool math games, but actually like with this math, right? Like 1 + 2 = 4.
Mhm.
Oh, the bubble breaks or something like that, right? Or you get points, right? That would be my type of video game. Like I was never really allowed to play those like intense shooter like killing games, like COD, like Halo, all of that. I was until later in life, right? So like at what age would I let my child play video games? I would probably let them like when they're 7 or 8, I'm probably gonna introduce them to like, or maybe a little younger, just like learning video games, right? To help them with like school and stuff, right? But in terms of like Fortnite, I'm not letting them touch that until like probably
Uh,
high school.
the thing is though, I think for our generation, right, those kind of shooting games, was very prominent as we were all each growing up, right? But then, let's say when we have kids, all those games will already be existing, right? While for our generation, all those kids are coming out, you know.
Yeah.
And then, I feel like because I started those kind of shooting games so late in my life, I'm just so bad at at eye hand coordination when it comes to games like that. Like now, like obviously, obviously, I'm not trying to say like, oh, I'm like I'm bronze or like I'm silver iron. But because I just didn't get to play as growing up, because that doesn't make sense. Because I can always like just put more time and invest into it. But it's like I'm just not it's not like the emotional connection, like the nostalgia is not there whenever I play these kind of games.
Hmm.
Well, like for Steve or Alex or something. I feel like they like been playing this since they've been growing up.
Yeah. Also, it's just like for example, like I was thinking of a good example, right? It's like Mario versus COD, for example, right? Mario
Hmm.
is like it's family friendly, right? And like
Hmm.
it's like a pretty cool game, right? Like it's colorful and stuff, right? I'd rather let my kid play Mario because like you actually have to use your brain for puzzles and solving, right? You can use your brain for COD, right? Like I'm not saying like people play COD is stupid, but uh but it's just like a lot
Just
of games now that I
is it the
see.
violence thing for you? Is it
Yeah,
violence for you?
violence is one of the things too. Like, sure, in reality, like, it's not that bad, but it's like a lot of the games now, like GTA. Holy dude, there's nudity. Like, if you let your kid play GTA and they're in middle school or something, they're gonna like start cussing. They're gonna know what porn is, like, or like oh, they want like guns. Like, violence is fun, like doing all
Would
these
you say
bad
that
things
you're
is
being a
fun.
bad parent by giving your kid GTA
Yeah,
or giving them that
in some
access?
way, yeah, because I feel like
Yeah, but
it has
it's
that.
very normal though.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like it has that tag for a reason. Oh, like over this certain age, people should
Or
play.
rated M.
Yeah, rated M for mature, right? For good reason, right? Like I'll let someone play Mario, but I let my kid in middle school play Mario Kart and shit like that, right? And like Smash and stuff,
Well,
whatever. But
well,
not like
isn't
GTA
games like
or
Valorant
those
and
provocative
Fortnite
games.
rated T for teens?
Yeah, rated T for teens because yes, they're technically killing people or like like there's aggressive violence, right? Like, but then like it's no, I don't know. You can argue like no, I don't know about Valorant, but League definitely has some suggestive like content on there sometimes. You know, look at Evelyn's
Hmm.
quote. Like that's kind of weird, right? But then
Wait, what is that?
basically whenever Evelyn like speaks, it's like seductive and like like it shouldn't be like for a middle schooler to hear probably. I don't know if it's like
Uh-huh.
if I'm too protective over kids, but that's for me though personally. I would just those type of games no. Other games yes, And even then
Hmm.
I already want my kids to be more sports oriented than play video games, but not be completely out of the
Uh,
ballpark, We're like, "Oh, what the fuck is
uh,
that like Minecraft?"
why do you want your kid to be so different from you? Because I know you weren't very sports oriented now in high school even, right?
Uh, I feel like video games are cool, right?
And then more so,
Um,
you were a part of the esports team. Like, is that not more
well,
video game oriented than sports oriented?
well, for me, I was thinking like on the younger side, right? Like, let's say your body is still developing, right? When you're like in elementary and middle school, right? And like, it's pretty shitty for you to just sit on hours to play video games, right? Like you hunchback, like right? I'd rather have
Uh-huh.
my kid you know, swimming with me, or like go swimming, teach them how to swim, go hiking, play a sport. But it's not to say like, oh, sports are cooler than playing video games, right? Because I feel like our generation now, like right now, video games are fucking lit. Like everything is so fucking cool. Like everyone plays video games. Like I see so many like football athletes play Fortnite, play other games. You know, like it's kind of crazy. Uh, but then that's just my personal like take. If I were to have kids, it's just to be more focused on sports and stuff, and like the video games they play are more like less of that violence and killing and stuff. Like if they're in high school and above and beyond, like they could play like League or Valorant and stuff. Like that's fine. But overall, like that's just my take on it. I
Uh, so you saying like games like Mario and Pokemon are fine, but not like Valorant and COD?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
we can go into like communities too within video gaming. Like if you want to go dive deeper into the
hmm,
rabbit hole, Valor community bad, COD community bad. A lot of bad people saying bad things, and then if your son or daughter gets exposed to that, right? Like boom, like they might
mhm.
actually start
uh,
to have those
but
tendencies.
uh, do you think that you would be resented by your kid for not allowing them to play certain games though? Because if you really think about it, right, those kind of games are the most popular kind of games, and then or like or MOBAs even, all right,
I
let's
see what
say
you mean.
let's say you isolate your kid from able to keep up the conversation because your kid doesn't play this game, you know?
Yeah, but that's why I was saying in the first place, they're more sports oriented in the first place, right? So it's like, oh, what game is that? Like, oh, I don't really know, like what those games are, you know. I don't think they would be as affected,
What
right?
sport would you pick for your kid?
Um, Swimming. I think swimming is
Swimming?
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but then swimming is not something that you talk about casually with your friends.
Yeah, but like you can have people like in high school that swim and you become friends with them, you know. Uh,
I feel like it's very iffy. Like, to,
s-
to, to, to say it that boldly, how many times have you and I talked about swim? You know, like,
yeah, that's true. But Uh, I'd say like this, like yeah, they like sports, and like like they'll play video games. I see what you're trying to say, right? Like oh, they're like the majority of people that he's probably going to meet, right? Like my kid is going to meet. Yeah, they play. Some of them can play sports, right? But they'll all play video games. That's just probably a
yeah,
given, right? And if everyone's playing the same video game, you're gonna be like the odd one out, you know. So I kind of
hmm
understand that, and but it just depends. Like maybe if it's like league or something, and he wants to play it, like if let's say my kid was in high school, it's like oh my friends and I from swim club they play league and like can I play league, Dad? I'm like yeah, go ahead, sure. Just don't uh
hmm
do that, you know. But yeah, I see what you mean. But for
Uh,
me, more so it's like at an early age. I don't want them to deal with any of that like
I,
crazy
I
stuff,
I
you
don't think
know.
I don't think I will not allow my kid to play most games after they're while they're in middle school. I think middle school is a
Beginner
good time
point.
to allow your kid. Yeah, like they'll like I know rated M says 17, right? But obviously we fucking played rated M games
Yeah.
like way before we were like. So then I think middle school is a good starting ground.
Yeah. That's just me personally. That's why I'm saying like I understand what you're trying to make like because it's 100% true that in the future fucking VR is probably going to be like
It,
crazy.
it's really
Everyone's going
hard
to
to
be on
control.
games.
Like,
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like more people are going to play video games and it's going to be more normal than people doing sports at that point in time. I think that's just the way our generation is going. And
mhm.
for worse or for better, I truly don't know. Right? But yeah. All right. You do one of your questions now. Hello, Steven?
All right, yeah, yeah. Just give me a sec.
Yeah.
Um, is mansplaining real?
Can you give me the definition again? I just want to be 100%
Here,
sure.
here. I actually had to look this up myself, and then I feel like this is gonna be interesting. Cause I am somewhat of a feminist. You know, like so like I'm not trying to clown myself over here, but I do try to respect women. But then like I do make those jokes,
Yeah, there's
and
like
but it's for purely humor. It's not like anything like I'm a misogynist or anything. So mansplaining by Oxford language is the explanation of something by a man, typically to a woman, in a manner regarding as condescending or patronizing.
oh, like you're explaining it in a way like, for example, like let's say I say to like my sister or something, like, "Oh, I think you should like, do you know how to use the dishwasher? Like, are you like,
No, no, no.
do you want me to explain it to you?"
I don't think mansplaining is questions or like suggestions. I think mansplaining is like when you explain something, right? And then you do it to like a full grown woman as like they were a child.
Oh, okay, okay. I see. Um, I don't know enough where I don't like actually see it happen. I've never done it, like I feel like I I don't know if it's a gender thing, perhaps. I have no clue too much, but based on even what I see in social media, I don't really think it's real. That's just me.
Hmm.
Like I think there's instances where it happens, but I feel like that's just misogyny, right? But like in
Hmm.
terms of actual mansplaining, I feel like everyone does that, Like people do that all the time. Like, oh, they think they're smarter than someone, so regardless of gender, they're just gonna talk to you like you're stupid or lesser, right? But I don't know too
I feel
much
like
about that.
I feel like the reason why this occurs is because, or well, I don't think I have any firsthand experience because I can't, But then, it's like a lot of a lot of the times, like when I have no actual knowledge of whether you have any background knowledge on this or anything. So I will explain it to you to best of my abilities,
Okay.
right? Like I'm gonna explain it to you to the best of my abilities, assuming that you have no prior knowledge in this in the field that I'm about to talk about. So
Okay.
then I feel like that happens a lot to to women, and then at that point they feel offended because like you're over explaining something, and like obviously and then they believe like or I I I don't want to make an assumption like, oh, like this is what they think, this is what I think that they think, like you know what I mean.
Yeah, I feel like
uh,
maybe women think it like this, right? They
like
think
like
because I'm a
you don't need to
woman that
explain this part because like obviously anyone would know this, but then how am I supposed to know that you already know this, it's one
yeah,
of those things.
yeah, yeah. For me, like I've never seen it really happen. I mean, I've heard about it, like the mansplaining, like stop doing that. I feel like some people take it like way too far. It's not that deep, but it definitely happens too. I'm not denying that it doesn't. Uh, but yeah, I don't really know too much about it, like mansplaining in
Yeah,
general. Like I'd never
it's
really
something
come
I
across
hear
that.
about it, right? But then I've never come across it. But I do know, like, or actually, I can probably guarantee that it happens. But it's probably
Yeah.
usually not out of malicious intent. Like, I'm gonna talk to you, or like when I explain something, I try to talk to you. I try to make the assumption.
I I don't know. For me, that's like really gray area. I'd have like
I
I don't really know too much. That's why like if maybe it's our area too where we live in or like just our environment. But I've never really seen those things happen, so I can't tell for sure. And I don't know what social media covers enough about that. I'm not too informed on any of that. So yeah. But yeah, um. So this is a interesting question I was just thinking about, but I was like, oh, so is social media better or worse? And let's just say for our generation.
would say worse.
All right. Well, why do you think so?
A lot of the times I think it's about body confidence, right? And then a lot of social media people or a lot of influencers have this usually unattainable body. Like
Mhm.
uh and then a lot of people lack body confidence, right? Like I think I thought this probably back when I was a freshman. Like obviously I was like on the bigger side, like I had a good layer of fat on me, but then and then sometimes I would be self conscious, like, oh man, like maybe I need to change the way I look by exercising more, eating more, but then I feel like that's also just for health reasons as well, because I definitely wasn't a healthy kid back in freshman year, you
So
know.
so you're saying social media like with the unattainable body actually helped you, so it made it better.
I uh I don't think social media was the reason why I started exercising and things like that. But then it's definitely a reminder on why, like why I would want to keep a healthier body, you know?
I see. For me, like how I think of social media, especially in our generation, I think like the number one thing is just how fast information gets passed and how fast people are like. I think the generation of the snakes, like for example with texting, right? Social media, as in let's go with communications, right? Snapchat, Instagram, like how do people, oh, can I have your Snapchat, can I have your Instagram, like IG, stuff like that. And then when people use it to text, there's a lot of like how people ask each other out over text, or there's like a lot of arguing. um Also, like, I don't know, just like a lot of more sneaky like things, right? But then
Uh-huh.
um also with other things with social media too, like I think it's worse, especially for our generation. Because you can argue and say like social media, like like cancel
Well,
culture and
I
stuff,
feel like it's
and
also good,
yeah, 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 it's also good because
because it
we're
shares a
able
lot of
to,
trends, it shares a lot of cultures,
yeah,
yeah,
we're able
like
to relay
something that we use is
important
TikTok, right? And
information. Yeah, like it can
and
be
then
used
TikTok
for
is how we get information that we're interested in,
like
and that's why we have a for you
yeah,
page.
but it's very interesting though, right? It's like, okay, let's use TikTok for example, right? Yes, there's TikToks, right, that have really like good educational content, or it's telling us about the world, right? But let's be real. People that have that, like, what's the percentage of those type of TikToks, those wholesome, like, educated, like, good to listen to TikToks, compared to the trash that we see now, like memes, like all these like stupid memes, or like people just getting hurt, like all like like jokes and stuff like that, right? Because I guarantee you, I feel like if we put a percentage of people like that actually have like wholesome TikToks and not, like because like TikToks also has like like hot girls and guys on it too, right? So like I feel like overall social media in general is just it's just worse for our generation, the way we intake it. Plus there's too many bad things that can come out of social media, I think, compared to good things that can come out of social media, right? Like there's so many like there's
Cancel
not that
culture.
there's not that many good things in the world compared to bad things. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
how do I see it? Like, okay, like if I'm on TikTok and I'm scrolling, right? Oh yeah, really cool, like, oh, I'm getting news about Russia and Ukraine, right? Oh, I'm getting
Hmm.
this cool science fact. Oh, I'm seeing this wholesome like guy donate money to like a homeless person, right? That's
Hmm.
three, but my 17 TikToks are gonna be, oh, hot girl, oh, like funny video game memes, like that, right? And I feel like overall it's on the worst end with social media.
Uh, I don't know I don't know any statistics, so I can't say anything. But then I feel like the number of videos like that are very mixed. I definitely don't think it's like there's an overwhelming number of this, you know?
I see. But yeah, with social media, I just see uh just like a lot more like shittier things than nice things. I feel like social media is definitely like it's never going away, right? But yeah, what you're talking about earlier, like body positivity, right? Like how people post on IG, like and share their life. It makes it so
Hmm.
yes, we can be more connected, but like I also feel like always a bad side to it too. Like would you consider like OnlyFans social media?
Mm-mm. Nope,
W-
that's people selling videos and pictures of their body.
Okay, but it's like
I mean, is that the whole was that the whole point of OnlyFans, or was OnlyFans originally like Patreon, or
I
no?
think OnlyFans is originally supposed to be like Patreon, but it's just our people just decided to make it become like that type of selling platform. Uh, yeah, cause I don't know, but then like overall for me, social media is just like um in the hands of our generation, it could be really uh really important, right? Because people
Mhm.
have to know, right? And if you're like someone from like all the way across the country, right, can connect with you, and that's cool, right? Like that's like a technological advance and privilege we have, right? But then just how I see it, our generation especially, it's used for a lot of nonsense on the most part, like memes. Like yeah, like we have our like category for entertainment, but I feel like there's so much more entertainment than actual helpful content, you know?
Mm.
And usually entertainment isn't that good because it's like fake or, stuff like that. But that's my take on social media. Anything else to say, or do you want to go with the next thing?
Uh, I think we should move on.
You want to move on? All right. Because I don't know. For me, it's like one of those things. I just think it's worse. Like social media. I see the good in it, but I see so much more bad. You know, it's just how it is. But yeah. Moving on with one of your questions. Steven?
Oh yeah. My question.
Yeah.
Wait, no, but that was my question. I said, is mansplaining real?
Oh, then I asked about social media, better or
Oh, yeah.
worse. So, yeah.
But definitively, I think mansplaining happens. I don't think I believe usually it happens without ill intent. But that I think I have a very optimistic opinion of the world.
Yeah. For me, I just don't know too much. I can't say. Like, it's definitely there. It's definitely out there. Maybe our like the real definition of it is changed or something like. But for me, it's mostly gray area. That's all I can say.
All right. So now it's your question.
Oh, but I actually asked about the social media stuff. So
Oh,
yeah,
so
that's why.
was that one of your questions? All
Because
right.
I think we finished talking about the mansplaining thing. Because I kept saying that I don't really know too much, and then
I see.
that's why I mentioned social
All
media.
right. So my next question is, modern feminism is usually for convenience.
Okay, Steven,
Uh, uh,
this podcast, bro. It's not.
well,
I'm kidding. I'm
it's
kidding.
I
It's
think
it's intriguing. It's intriguing. Yes.
or in my opinion, I think the unfairness was what I can't remember which amendment it was where like women were allowed to vote. It like wage the wages between men and women have to be like equal or like roughly around the same percentage. The- And then a lot of people have a misconception of what the wage gap is, in my opinion. Like because
Mm.
men overall just work more hours and then they make more money,
Oh.
and over time the man or woman who works more will usually get a promotion, and then that's why they have a higher wage. And then
Uh.
but then a lot of those higher tier jobs are for men because
I was
because
gonna.
we
So
work more
what was
hours.
your original question? Sorry.
The original question is modern feminism is usually for convenience.
Hmm. So yeah, my take on this is more so. I think feminism is needed, right? Like, yeah,
Mm.
empowerment to women because in reality, like, there's no denying it. There's a lot of things that women like, get shit on, and it's just how it is, right?
Yeah, of
Um,
course. Like
but then feminism, as I
it's
see
like
it.
guys should always like is a big question always here in a community is should guys always pay for the first date?
Oh, I see. I could.
But then, why is like is that just a preconceived notion that guys should
Yeah, I
pay?
think
Like
it's just like a cultural thing, like a social thing, actually, right? Like the guy pays for the woman, but I don't know when did that start or stem from. Like in reality, like does it go back to
so
patriarchy
so,
itself? But I don't
so
know how
now
that
that
correlates,
so now that there is like a so now that there is more
Like more like feminist groups
like
and like speaking up and
more
stuff like that,
no no
and movements or what?
now that there's more equality between men and women, right?
Hmm.
So who pays for that bill now? Is it rude for me to assume that I should pay because I'm a guy, or
Uh, I think like it's definitely equality now, but like just going back to your question, right? Like I think modern uh like feminists and stuff like that, like There are
Oh,
some
it's
feminists.
not modern feminist. It's modern feminism.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
like
like modern feminism, right? Like the idea, like the idea is correct in a way where it's like, yeah, help women out in the places where they need help from. For example,
uh,
right? I'll give like an example, right? With like for example, the gaming community. I know a lot about Twitch and the gaming community, right? I watch it a lot, and there are a lot of times when you see like the women just like get bullied and shit. Like if a girl types in voice chat like, "Hey guys, like playing Valorant or something," right? Or like type or like she's playing League, right? Like it's predominantly men and like the misogyny is always there. There's always, oh, you're a
mhm,
fucking woman. Like, why are you playing video games? Do something else. You suck. You're not good, right?
mhm,
And that limits the cap for women to prosper, and like it just drives them away from playing video games because video games isn't just for guys. It's for everyone, right? Like, how does that
mhm.
matter if
Yeah.
you're a guy or girl, right? Uh,
And then a thing I hear a lot, like oh yeah, like immediately after, yeah, female gamers are real gamers too, right? On Twitch we see like the hang on,
like
uh we
ASMR
see
streams and
the
stuff like that, right?
no no it's
Or
like the hot tub streams
oh,
like just why
yeah,
like
that's completely different. That's not
like
gaming,
the yeah
like
but it's on like a gaming platform like Twitch,
yeah.
and then I think it makes females on Twitch look just kind of look bad in a way, but then it is it is always a viewer's choice
Yeah.
to
Yeah, it is a
donate
viewer's
to
choice.
watch.
Like for me with that kind of stuff, like it's a little this, but overall I was just speaking about like video games, right? It's not fair, right? Like
Mhm.
that's why if you notice actually in Valorant, right? There are a lot more like female players in Valorant especially and casting. I remember in the esports scene, right, casting all male, like all the guys, right, like just do it. Everyone
Mhm.
plays, but it's now there's female casters in Valorant, and I was watching streams, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty interesting. That's like I'm surprised how they haven't done it earlier, But yeah, like going back to modern feminism, the approach and the idea behind it is correct, but the people, the feminists, some of the feminists, not all, some of the modern feminists like see feminism like not as it should be, right? Like how do you say? It's the right idea, but the wrong way to go about it. Because now I see a lot of like the Me Too movement, right? Like oh,
Mhm.
like or like my body, like myself, right? Like yeah, but like I see a lot of clips where it's like women that are trying to advocate for that. It's they're not advocating for like they're advocating for women equality by degrading men. Like that's like one of the biggest things of why like a lot of the modern
Mm.
feminists are fucking like are doing it wrong, right? Because a lot of like things that people try to do, right, in general is just like in arguments, right? Like they try to make the other
Insult the other
yeah,
party.
make the other party look like trash so then they are accepted more, like and play the
No,
victim card and stuff.
well, it was more so
But
my statement was being because I never really hear about the feminist group until it's like very or until it's very convenient where they're in the winning party. I don't want to sound like a misogynist, but it's one of those things where it's one of those things where it's like the guy should pay to be chivalrous, right? But then what happened to equality or like things like war, right? Our generation, like Gen Z,
oh,
we
I see
really
what you mean.
clowned it. As soon as the Ukraine and
Oh, I
Russia
see.
thing happened,
Basically,
and then all these women TikToks were like, as a joke, obviously, as like, I know my place, I'll stay in the kitchen to stay out of war, right? Because
yeah.
being in war sucks,
And and
like,
yeah,
most guys wouldn't want to be in war, right?
and that type of stuff right there is the wrong way. It's like why feminism isn't like that's not the way feminism should be going, right? Because if you think about it, they're literally just like hypocritical and contradicting themselves, right? Like
Hmm.
why oh, if like with your example of like paying for the first meal, right? If women want to be
Hmm.
more independent and like have a stronger voice, right? Like yeah,
Uh-huh.
like to be more equal like with men, right? To stand up, speak up, to have more of an influence, right? But
Hmm.
then Like something for
And then
paying. Why is it
a thing I
expected
see
that
a
some
lot
things
that
have
happens, right,
these
Andrew? I think I see a lot that happens is whenever I'm on a date or something, I see the fake reach. You know, like, would you happen to know what I'm talking about?
fake reach? Just explain more.
It's like they fake reach into their purse, right? And they're like, and they're just doing it for a while, and then
Oh
90%
wow.
of the time, and 90% of the time, I'm gonna be paying for the day, right?
Holy shit.
But then, the very act that I see that someone's fake reaching like that, I'm like, come on, like, but
Yeah.
but then I do prefer that over the just watching me as the bill comes out. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. That's very interesting because that's like one instance, right? There's plenty of other
Not
examples.
one,
Oh no, no,
multiple.
I'm saying like one example, like the paying, right?
Uh-huh.
And like that's very interesting. I never heard about fake reach. Yeah, that I feel like that's an issue because it's
No,
like
but
why does the guy have to pay? Like what
the
that's the
the thing is
question,
though,
right? Because
uh,
the guy makes more
I
money, because the guy is supposed to be nicer. Like what's the reasoning, right?
cause in my opinion, right, I, I do appreciate the reach more than just looking at me. But then, I don't think I've ever come across an actual date where like, oh, I'll pay. Like what?
Interesting. I
Well, actually,
think.
no. That's incorrect. That's happened to me once. That's happened to me once.
Yeah, but mostly how it is, especially in our culture and our society nowadays, that's just how it is. I don't know,
Yeah,
like
but why? Like,
that's what I'm trying to figure out,
what
right?
happened to modern feminism? Like,
Yeah,
shouldn't we split the bill? But how often does that happen? But then if I present the idea of splitting the bill, right? Does that make me seem cheap? Does that make me seem petty? Like,
yeah, because then they
because
start making
I
like
don't want
saying,
to portray because I don't want to portray the idea like I don't like this person.
yeah,
I do like the person, but I just want to I don't know what to do.
like
Like,
there's
should I
already
split
pressure
it?
on you, put it no matter what. The moment you go out the date, right, to pay, like the
Hmm.
pressure's on you, and yeah, that's one of the things. That's why I was saying earlier with a lot of the modern feminism now. It's like not maybe not a lot, but it's like they're always contradicting themselves. Like what are you guys like? What's your guys' goal, right? Like,
Hmm.
but a lot of
Well,
times.
isn't the goal of feminism to be equal?
Yeah, to be
To
equal, right? Yeah, exactly. And if you guys want to be equal, then we talk about like the
No,
paying
but
thing, right?
I feel like
So,
or humanity as a whole has achieved equality
oh
in
no,
uh in a lot
no.
of ways. In a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
I think we've gotten better, but I feel like equality itself with women
Uh,
and men is just because like how about third world
can you
countries?
think of a thing
Third world countries,
where it's
right?
like very unequal? Oh no, I'm
Yeah.
talking about strictly
Oh,
North
strictly in
America, like
America? Okay,
strictly to
okay.
us.
Because you
But,
said
but
you were pretty broad with that. With
well,
the
it's very uncontrollable for the rest of the world. Like
Okay,
obviously
let's just talk about America then.
yeah.
100%. Like, you know how back then, like, you watch the old like movies, but like men come home from work and like women cook, clean, yada yada, right? Men does everything,
Mhm,
like they're the pillar, the important foundation for the family, right? And
mhm.
now it's actually moved towards where like I see
It's
like
more
a lot
equal.
more women. Yeah, it's more equal in terms of that way. Um, but but yeah, I think like overall, just the number one problem, right? Like as I said earlier, with like what I think about like modern femininity and feminism, is a lot of the times the way they try to do things is by degrading men, by playing the victim card, by doing this, and it's not really helping their cause, right? Like, but if they were to go about and be like, like women, like for example, like Valorant, right? And playing like games like for women like equality, right? And Twitch streaming. I'm a girl. I like video games. I like to play games, right? And I want to be able to do it without being, fucking shit on all the time, constantly. That's fair. And like working towards that, right, is completely fine, right? Because that's working towards equality, right? That's like one of the things, right? But then, uh, a lot of times where I see like a lot of the feminists aren't doing that. They're just like shitting on men or like trying to say that they are having this injustice and like blaming it on men. Like I see that a lot. A lot of blaming, right? But like at the end of it all, like I feel like for equality to happen, like yes, there has to be conflict and stuff, but I think the way they go about it can definitely just be improved, right? Because
Mhm.
you see all the memes of like the Karens and like the crazy super like feminists, right? Like social justice warriors, stuff like that, right? Like they kind of go to the
Mhm.
extremes. Maybe that's social media just pointing it out, and it's too like we're biased like that to
Like
see.
it's
But
very
it definitely
specific
happens.
instance.
Like it's definitely true. I'm not gonna deny that there's genuine like feminists that are trying to make the world better for women, right? Like
Mhm.
more education and stuff like that, like more programs. Like a good example, right, is like the Women's Association for like a club. I see a lot of like club have like women
Mhm.
stuff, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's good because like it's mostly like dominated by men, right? With that, so like it's good to have more reach towards them, right? But that's not hurting men, right? Like that's not degrading them or making fun of them or whatever, right? Or blaming them, right? That's just you just trying to make women more equal, and that's completely
Mm.
that's what modern feminists should be. But a lot of times we just don't see that. Uh, like like the social media stuff with the SJWs and stuff
Mhm.
like that. But yeah.
So, do you think that modern feminism now, like the way is being used, is more convenient than more for convenience, or do you think it's genuine problems that are still being used
Um, I think
that,
at the
that are being
moment,
faced? I
if
think
I'm
more
doing a,
than
I'll probably do like probably honestly like a 60-40, 70-30. That's what I'm
to
thinking.
which side?
Conveniency.
I see.
Just because like I don't know too much. This is my personal take. I've seen so much more worse than good, you know? Like in terms of trying to help. I've seen
Th-
so
th- th-
much more of the
Like
degrading of men and blaming and victimizing themselves over actually trying to pursue and prosper in like,
like
in making women
equality.
better, yeah, for equality, right? Yeah. That's me. 'Cause that's just what I see. That's what I think. What are your numbers or what do you think?
Uh, I would actually be closer to 70-30.
Like a lot of the women nowadays use feminism
Yeah,
as
like,
like,
but it's just based on personal experience. But then
oh, I see.
I
Yeah,
feel
that's
like
fair.
if I were to learn more, I feel like my numbers may change. But then I just don't see it because I'm obviously not a woman, so I don't see those
Yeah.
problems like firsthand.
Yeah. That's true. All right. Well, that's a pretty
Yeah.
heavy topic. We've been talking about like gender quite a lot. Um, but it's interesting, you know. Would you say we're a little biased because we're guys
Yeah, but
talking about this?
uh, we cannot talk about this without being biased
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we're men.
It's just inherently just like, how you think. Yeah. But okay.
I really don't want to offend anyone. It's just like this is based on my personal experience and my and the furthest
Like
that my
more
knowledge can take
so,
me.
your question is why? If this is happening, then why? Like why? Like
Hmm.
like
Oh,
how's this fair? You know?
uh, it's more so my thing wasn't even really a question. It was more of a statement.
I
You know,
see.
like and I just wanted to know your opinion about this kind of statement.
Yeah, that's my thing overall. Like it's just feminism. Like it is like I will say this right. It's like that it's the right idea, but the people behind it a lot like the 70-30 thing. A lot of the people behind it are using it for the wrong like reasons, right? Like convenience is one of the reasons, right? So yeah. Okay. Uh, I want to go and move on to like something more lighthearted.
All right. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's just our thing like anime or manga. Which one do you like
Hmm.
more?
Hmm. Ah, the thing
It's
is,
hard.
for something like that, there's a lot of good mangas that just have not been animated.
Let's say as of
So
this moment right now, if you were to take away anime or take away manga, which one?
I think I would take away anime. I think literature speaks to me a lot more sometimes, or most of the time.
Interesting.
I, I can appreciate good animation, but then that animation wouldn't be existing without the good story. You know, like
That's true, but I mean, I can argue back and say like, how about anime originals like VV? They had no source material; they just made it. You know.
that's true.
But yeah, I get you mean
but
though. A lot of the good
how
animes
many
come
instances?
from the good manga, right? So like,
Uh huh.
yeah. For me, it's like after experiencing both, right? Like Demon Slayer
Mhm.
is what I'm going to talk about, right? Like a crazy example, like a good example for me
Mhm.
is the manga and the Demon Slayer or the anime. If I were like, let's say the manga's already done, right? But let's say the anime is done, right? Like oh, everything, like the whole story. I'd love the anime a lot more, just because, like, the effort that they put into the animation, right? But it's not like I'm saying, oh, the manga is like shitty or something. I thought the manga was really cool. I thought it was like the efforts there too, right? Like the story they make, right? But for me, like I would choose anime over manga when it comes to Demon Slayer. But for something like I'm reading Soul Eater right now, right? And I already
Mhm.
like the manga way more than the anime, right? Plus like there's differences, like there's nuances how like anime gets changed because of like uh
But because
they
the
have
manga's not
to.
complete,
Yeah, the
yeah.
manga's not complete or like they pull a Full
Like
Metal
like a very
Alchemist,
good example is Full Metal Alchemist,
Yeah.
Brotherhood, and Soul Eater,
Like
because both of
they
those
had
were
to just
anime original
change.
endings.
Yeah, they had to change up the thing. But yeah, cause like I appreciate both, but for me that's my take on it. Like, but if I were to ask myself one or the other, I'd probably just choose anime still. I'm a sucker for watching like that. Like I think because
Because for me, right? I can still watch an anime with really terrible animation, but because the story is that good, like let's say like from the manga, but
yeah.
then and, and then but then I cannot read a manga with terrible with
Yeah, I
such a
see.
terrible story. You know, like
Yeah. The story is what matters, right? Like a lot. Like
yeah.
like the number one thing. For me,
And then
with
it's very costly to make an anime too. So
yeah.
so there's a very limited amount of anime that can come out every season.
Yeah. For me with anime, like I guess there's just some trash like, isekai fucking like all like washed up saying garbage, right? Like, oh,
Mhm.
there's no originality really, right? Or whatever. Right? But then
Mhm.
like for shows like a silent voice really paints the manga like really like outshines the manga in a way where yes the manga did have the story right but the story gets further propelled to the like with the like when you see emotions like especially for animation right because in
Uh.
real life we have like it's kind of weird to
Mhm.
see like people crying and sometimes like that right
Mhm.
but then like if someone's crying in anime like sometimes it's like it's pretty crazy like it's pretty intense right you get the feeling
Mhm.
down plus
Uh,
the background
would you say
music
that?
right
Would
like
you say you would like anime? Like for a silent voice, I'm gonna take your example
okay
because the production budget was so massive. You know, like
yeah
so it's very different from just a manga, right?
yeah
Because
it's
manga
hard
all
to
you have to do is
yeah
take the original, reprint it, and put it into a book, right?
yeah
But then so there's only so much production there's only so much budget you can do. Like obviously
yeah I see what
you
you
can get
mean
someone to color or something, you know, like
yeah like
but
oh
then
it's one person for manga but anime has all
but
these
then I
tools
feel like
right
on average a lot more mangas are good than on average and a lot more animes. You know, like
yeah I feel like manga would be a lot more enjoyable
but then
than
for anime
anime in the most part
at, at peak anime and at peak manga, I think anime definitely wins. But then on average, I think manga is still above.
yeah because if you think about it right
There's
peak anime
there's so many unrated or underrated mangas, you know.
Yeah, because like if you think about it, like Demon Slayer is the perfect example. I think I feel like the animation for Demon Slayer, like the anime for it, is fucking godlike. It's so good, like in terms of just overall production and like just effort, because that takes a lot of hard work. But I'm not gonna discredit like like the manga like because the story and like the designs are originally from the manga and everything right but I just see it
Mhm.
more of like uh it's just it's just like a better manga in a way right and like that's how I see it
Mhm.
too right it's like damn but I agree like am I gonna watch like something like Soul Eater right oh like it's not as good but then like you read the manga like damn dude they finally like or like uh, but yeah, with anime or manga, because I see like all these talks about like yeah, like the manga is nothing without the anime. But I also see the thing. It's like the anime is like what people watch first, and that like the manga's known like like the anime just makes it so that the manga gets well known. For a good example too is like webtoons. It's not
Uh-huh.
really. Would you say that's manga or like
No.
not really,
It's
right?
called manhwa.
Manhwa.
It's more specific to for Korean.
But yeah, webtoons for example, right? Like God of High School,
Uh-huh.
right? This is interesting, right? Because people complained about God of High School, like, oh, in the anime, you don't tell the story, you don't say anything, who are these characters? What the fuck is going on, right? But then that's not the point of that anime, right? The anime was actually
Mhm.
to make sure people go out and read the webtoon. Because in terms of animation, they did pretty cool with the fight scenes. Like it looked really
Mhm.
good, right? And they even kept the style too of like the red nose, like the red coloring on their nose.
And that happens a lot before, like, and that's why a lot of animes don't get a season two because that anime was essentially made as advertisement
Yeah,
for the
yeah, it's
manga
like an advertisement.
or light novel.
That's why it's like when I heard when people say like, oh, they're shitting on like God of High School, right? For that shit, I'm like,
Uh,
well, like this isn't even supposed to be an anime. They're doing it to get you to read the webtoon, you know? Let's appreciate that it's there is what I was like going for, right?
uh,
Like why are you
what,
hating on it? Like just because it doesn't
what,
explain everything, you know? Like you can
uh,
like, you know, like,
another thing that we haven't really talked about is light novels, because a good chunk of anime are based on light novels as well.
yeah,
A
Monogatari,
good
ReZero. Oh, that's interesting.
and then some mangas are even based on light novels too. Uh,
Oh,
so 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 I think I have a good perspective on light novels, mangas, and anime because I do all three,
okay.
and I definitely find it a lot harder to get into a long light novel, especially when it already has a lot of volumes. But I find it's definitely a lot easier to it's easiest for me to get into manga. It's not that and then anime and then light novels, because anime to me it's very hard to start and it's very hard to finish, you know, but manga I just very much enjoy reading, you know, like especially with the pictures.
I see. Oh yeah, I was gonna say like with
But I definitely think light novel is very niche, you know, like
yeah, it
it
is
takes a
very
lot of
niche
time,
because it's
effort, and
essentially just a book,
and
right? Like
yeah, it's like
but
novel.
what's very interesting though is I haven't read the light novels for like ReZero and Monogatari series, right? But like
Mhm.
the anime, right? ReZero the anime was okay. I feel like reading the light novels a lot better. Right, that's my opinion. Like I think ReZero at times was kind of repetitive, but it was pretty cool. Like overall to see it animated, right? Because it's like the Harry Potter series, right? Like you're reading the big ass books, but then there's movies for it, you know. So that's kind of cool, right? Because like it's there's no source material from the manga, right? So you're kind of just winging it based on the interpretation of the light novel itself, right? Because there's no pictures. So like
Mhm.
a good example for like why like anime why I like anime, right, is the Monogatari series. So like it's a long running series. There's a lot of light novels for it, right? But the animation
Mhm.
production made it in such a unique style that it like uh just wants like it does the light novel justice, I would say. Because you know, let's say you have no source material, right? So how are they gonna do it? But then Monogatari, the way they did it was like it could definitely just be like an anime itself. Like if there's no light novel, right? Like
Mhm.
it's definitely fine as an
No, but
anime
then
original.
every single idea in the anime came from the light novel, because the author itself
Well,
is just a genius. You know, like a
well,
genius for what he made. You know,
yeah, yeah, I
so
see what you mean, but
I definitely can never see Monogatari being an anime original. You know, like because someone has to write this script beforehand, and then imagine having an anime because the Monogatari series
actually,
it
yeah, yeah,
did
yeah,
so
you're
well,
right.
and then because it did so well as a light novel, it got turned into an anime. You know.
Actually, yeah, you're right. I wanted to say more like this, like basically the anime that they make for like the Monogatari series for the light novel, like they did it really well. The style of because I don't know if you watch any of the Monogatari series, but there's a lot of just random like pictures, a lot of dialogue. And you know in anime how they cut dialogue and they want to see more action and more like fan service and stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
Monogatari has a lot of dialogue because use the light novel as a source, right? And I respect that because it's like if they made it more so just like more fan service, more action, right? More animation, I feel like that's like cutting away from the light novel. But they kept the dialogue and they kept like this like crazy style. Like no, if you watch Monogatari series, you will always remember it forever, right? And I feel like they basically the anime did justice for the light novel. If the light novel was like for like ReZero, right? Like the anime is pretty good, right? Like it's not bad, right? But then like
Mhm.
if I were to compare it to the Monogatari series, Monogatari fucking nailed it out of the ballpark when it comes to um, making the anime for the light novel. Cause like they have like different sounds, different pictures, like over and over again. Like I don't know if you watch any of the Monogatari series, but they go crazy with that stuff, right?
I've only watched
And
the first season.
like it's very 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 interesting. Yeah, that's just like for me. What I'm trying to say at the end of it is like there are light novels, right? And there's some anime that is made for the light novel, but the anime is kind of bad, and the light novel didn't, it didn't do it justice, right? I think it's better to read the light novel,
I,
right? And there's some animes like
uh-huh.
I'd say Monogatari, fucking, like, like damn, bro, like it makes me
But
want to read the light novel.
but it feels very hard for you to for me to listen to this because I know that you haven't read the Monogatari series.
Yeah,
So then, but you've only watched the anime. So then
yeah,
it's hard for you to have both perspectives when you truly don't. You
yeah,
know.
yeah. But what I'm just saying, it's like if I were to read the Monogatari series, right, and just like, uh, I probably still enjoy the anime more than the light novel. Is what I'm thinking. Like I'll like maybe in the future I'll read it and I'll like because it's just like how like reading books, right? It's your imagination, and I think it's pretty cool. Like I used to read like the Aragon series, fucking 1,000 fucking page books, like they're huge, right? And like
Hmm.
it was very interesting to read because it's like I'm making my own like anime in my head, right? Basically by
Hmm.
reading it, right? And that's like the really good appeal of a light novel, right? But then just for me, it's like the anime being shown, like, yeah, I don't have enough to say because I haven't read the light novel, right? Because maybe the light novel is better than the anime, but so far, like, I can see it like just complementing really well with it. Like that's what I'm gonna say with the anime. That's like one of the biggest things that I can that why like one of the biggest things why I like anime in the first place, it's because no matter what the source material is or whatever, whether it comes from a manga or a light novel, I just
Hmm.
I just like when they do it so well because there's so many factors into making it like well like that they choose, right? And there's a lot of creativity too, right? Like I just have respect for it because it's like all right man, you did this really really well, like like how how they end it like in the manga, right? It's like let's say there's a scene where there's like it's really really sad, right? Like so like a really strong heartfelt scene, right? When you read the manga, like you feel sad about it, right? But then like when you watch the anime, it's like amplifies that by like 4, 5, because of the music, because of the choreography, because of like the voice acting, right? Like there's so many factors, right? So that's like why I love anime. Like when they do that right, when they do that well, like I respect the shit out of it. Like it's like
Yeah,
damn.
and that's why I said top anime beats top manga. But
Yeah,
then on
I agree.
average, like, it's very hard to get that top anime.
Yeah, I agree. It's also because like a lot of the animes that we see are kind of like not as good, like if you go to the seasonal, it's like it's got the same trope. It doesn't really have anything. Yeah, like the designs are starting to get more similar. A lot of fan service here and there. But like I agree with you. Like I have to read more manga, but so far I actually enjoy a lot of manga. It's just like um in a way where it's like the raw material is pretty good because sometimes the anime fucks it up completely. Promise Neverland, right? So
Hmm.
yeah. Overall, though, I guess just for different things, one thing is better over the other. But I agree with you said. At peak production and everything, like Demon Slayer, right, is definitely
Hmm.
better, right? But overall, like, I'd rather read manga for uh stuff like what's a good example where the manga is just better than the anime, but like
Most things.
uh
Berserk.
yeah, like Berserk, right?
Very good example.
That's a good example.
That's a very good
Berserk,
example.
fucking
No,
griefed.
everyone hates on Berserk for being
Yeah,
3D, right? Even though
yeah,
it's anime, but then a lot of people praise the manga.
yeah. The
I
manga's really
myself,
good.
or Baki even, I actually really like Baki, regardless of anime or manga. But then a lot of people hate on 3D, and it's like a lot of people don't give it the chance that it deserves. You know, like it's very hard to make 3D anime look good. You know, so then they have to experiment somehow. You know.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree. Like Berserk, the anime is kind of bad, right? Like, but then like I've heard about. It. I haven't read the manga, but it's been goated. Like it's been
Yeah,
up there.
it's
But
very unfortunate that the Berserk manga will never be finished too.
like I think the biggest reason why a lot of manga are just better than the anime, because the anime tries to implement these unnecessary things. That's a little annoying. Like for example, like like the fan service extra. Like the manga shows some fan service, but it's like not too much, right?
Mm.
Or like um all this extra ass dialogue, or like the background, like One Piece, for example, right, is a good explanation, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I read a little bit of the manga for One Piece, right? And like it looks pretty cool, right? But like it's very raw and unfiltered compared to the anime. Probably because like they had to catch up, right? But then like the anime, like I remember how I explained this to you. Like one of the episodes I watched for the Doflamingo arc. Um, it was like 5 minutes of what happened in the last episode, right? You have the intro,
Mm-hmm.
you have the outro, and then like just have like background music, like people like in the manga I would have just gone straight to like what's happening, right? But the anime just stalls it, right? And like it feels like a
Mm-hmm.
cash grab in some way, like it feels cheap, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I see. But uh yeah, overall interesting. That's it for me when it comes to the questions today. Do you have anything else?
I have one more question, I think.
All right, hit me up with
I mean, it,
is it about
it's not a very good follow-up question to what we were talking about earlier because
Mhm.
we're gonna be going from anime to manga to my topic, so that's why I was like, eh.
I mean that's
But
we've
the
already been
thing is,
doing that though,
call
so.
calling is always better than texting.
Oh, okay.
For
Yeah.
for our generation, in my opinion, ghosting is a very big thing.
Mhm.
No matter what you're doing, like
Yeah.
uh, ghosting will always be seen everywhere. Like
Yep. It's basically
that,
out there for you, like Snapchat. That's why when I was like social
it's so
media is
easy to
bad.
do too. It's
Yeah,
so
it's so
easy to do.
easy. Like better
So
or
then,
worse, like.
but by calling, you can make sure like it's full confrontation with a lot. What I see that how a lot of people don't like it. A lot of people do not like confrontation. A lot of people do
Yeah.
not like talking to the person that they're kind of
Especially our
screwing over in some
generation
way.
too. Maybe because we're younger and more tech savvy, but how I see it is like, oh, I prefer text over call. Just text me. But what makes me a little like angry, right, is like when you, let's say for example, like certain people that you know that are usually never busy, or like they're not doing, or they're not doing something, right? But then they're like when you text them, like they'll just respond later because they'll say like they're busy or something, right? But when you call them, they
Mhm.
won't pick up because they're like, oh, like I'm busy right now. Or like,
Mhm.
but then if you text them, like they're not busy, or they'll just ghost you a little bit and they'll talk to you, right? Because then like calling, you're hearing people, right? So they have to, and it's also like I guess inconvenience. Like if you want to stoop it down to like laziness, oh, I have to pick up my phone, I have to put it in my ear, I have to talk and use my voice. I'm tired, But if I text, I just boom, 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 boom. But I think the biggest thing with texting and calling, right, is calling
Mhm.
when you hear the actual person's voice. It's a lot more. Uh, you get a lot more information out of if someone just texts you because you
Mhm.
just read it, right?
Uh, uh, and, and then I feel like let's say it's not let's say it's your employer, right? What if you
Mhm.
have multiple questions that you want to ask, and then but then spam texting is seen as bad. Like
Mhm.
oh man, like imagine coming back to your phone, you see 8 different texts, and they're all different questions or something.
Yeah.
I think calling is very useful.
I feel like uh what people should be doing more is like this, right? Uh you call first. Oh, if they hang up, or like they're not, like they're busy or something, then they'll text you like, oh hey, what's up? Sorry, I
Hmm.
can't talk to you right now, right? But then it's just
Hmm.
like when I hear people say like, "Oh, I prefer text over call." Like, I mean, that's fine, this is their preference. I'm not gonna, shit on them for that. But for me, it's
Hmm.
like, damn it, Cause I like calling. Like, if you're asking the original question, I definitely prefer
Mhm.
calling. I just like talking to people, like hearing their voice too. How's your day, right? Like talking to us right now, like making this podcast right now, right? We're not
Mhm.
seeing each other, but at the very least we can hear each other. So I'm like, hey Steven, how's your day, man? Like, how you been? I could tell that your tone, if you're having a good day, you're having a bad day. When you're
Mhm.
texting, like you can't really tell. Like, hey buddy, how's your day? Good. Yeah, or yeah, like I had this really cool thing. Yeah, like emojis can help, but I think calling overall is just like more expressive than
I
texting.
actually don't. I actually don't prefer using emojis in text.
I actually don't really use it either. Uh,
I mean, I do understand that it's a good way to show signs of your expression that like you're joking or convey certain images.
yeah,
You know how a peach is like an ass or like an
yeah,
eggplant is like your dick, or the wet licking or like smiley face wink
yeah.
like those things. Um, like those things
I
are
think
used, but then I don't prefer to use them.
Yeah, I think it's valid because, like, let's say, like, because you're being suggestive, like, mysterious in a way. Like I want your
Mhm.
eggplant, but it's like it's so funny to see. I want your fat cock, like, or something like that, right? It's weird, you know.
It's like a lot more people want to be subtle, you
Yeah,
know?
it's sort of like a play on words. Like it's funny in a way, you know. Like that's what I understand. But like, yeah, I'm not really an emoji type person. Like, I'll do it from time to time. Like people type lamau, right, or LOL.
Mhm.
Like from time to time, I'm just like, yeah, fuck saying LOL. I'll just have the fucking like, smiley face emoji or something. Like the one thing.
Oh, another idea I just thought of is let's say you make a joke, right?
Hmm.
Whether it's over a call, right? Let's say I make a bad joke over a call, no one laughs. It's a lot easier to type LOL and send it, right? It's like, oh, okay, like, oh, I guess they kind of thought it was funny, but then instead of
Yeah,
having that
it's not
awkward
really
silence,
funny.
in
Yeah,
call, like, oh
cause
man, this
cause
guy,
you cause
I
you
didn't make
truly
anyone
don't
laugh.
know. Cause the thing
Yeah.
when you text, right? That's
Yeah, that
why.
happened a lot of the time. You're the LOL, and then like, is this guy actually laughing?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
is
Like you don't know, right? But it's not
Mhm.
genuine. That's like the thing with texting. It's like it's literally like the number one snake thing, like oh, I feel like saying I love you is also a good example. I love you in text to your girlfriend compared to in person. I love you, like it's so much more different. But what I think our generation now, like we internalize the fact that we basically make texting as like the main thing now. Like they try to interpret it with emotions in texting, which is I feel like
Mhm.
not that smart, right? Because it's like a lot of misunderstandings and miscommunications can happen, right? But it's like,
Mhm.
you know how you're like K. This is a good example too, right? K. You type K to
Yeah.
someone. They're gonna get
This
mad
was a
because
big mistake I did throughout entire high school, by the way.
yeah.
I didn't know that this was a mistake in texting. Like just
Yeah.
typing K, like confirmation that I got your message. But then it seems that it's seen as very rude,
Yeah.
which I didn't really understand.
That's
Like why
that's
is it
what our
rude?
generation is good now doing. Like I was saying earlier, right? When you type K and they see it, their brain interprets it as if you're
Oh, this
actually
person doesn't
saying
have time for me or
like
something.
like like let's say like they're interpreting as actually saying like K, like sarcasm. Basically, when you type K, they see sarcasm, right?
Hmm.
That's how they interpret it as. And in reality, like it's not. That's why a lot of miscommunications happen, right? Let's say you're not a good texter and you're like and you say something like K is a good example. I'm trying to think of another one, but I can't right now. But K, right? But that's just confirming something. So on your end, you're not being a dickhead. You're just typing K, and it's easier for you, right? K, boom, right?
But then,
And then the other party doesn't see it like that.
I feel like the same argument can be made. How much hard is it to really type okay? Like it's not that much harder. Like it's three additional letters.
Yeah, but I feel like if you know the person, like it shouldn't be that bad. It's like uh I don't know. Overall, it's or texting. Like our generation now, like texting, it's its own language now. Like it's its own thing, right? Like you can get a lot of people like assume or have a lot of like information when they see text, right? You know, you know how like people write
Mm,
those big ass paragraphs, right? Like saying they're sorry and stuff like that, yada yada. I think
mm,
what like a lot of our generation tries to do now is interpret it as best as we can. But the reason that's kind of bad with interpreting it is because you're reading it it's your interpretation, your bias, right? You
Mhm.
you think what they are saying, but in reality, like you don't know if that's actually what they're saying. But if I'm literally talking to you, like Steven, uh, like for example, like fuck you, bro, I fucking hate you, right?
Uh-huh.
You know that like oh shit, he's mad at me or like he hates me.
Uh-huh.
But if I text you, fuck you, bro, fucking hate you, man, like it's really hard
I,
to tell, right?
it's
Like
very hard to distinguish, right? And that's why people use emojis. And then, I never see very often, or it's not I never see, but I don't see very often. People using commas in texting.
okay,
Even though comma is such a useful tool in actual English writing,
I
but
never.
comma, yeah, like who the hell is gonna take time out of their time, like like imagine I'm asking you, how come you did this, right? Or like, and then it's more, but it's more so like how come, comma,
Yeah.
did you? Yeah, I guess like it just seems fucked. If it seems fucked up without the comma, but a lot of people forget to use comma, you know?
I feel like etiquette when it comes to that is like over high. Like relax, man. We're not in an English class. That's my opinion, right? As long
Mm,
as my message gets to you correctly, why do I need a comma? Why do I need a question? Like, are you okay? Right? Why do I need a question mark for that? You already know it's a question, right? Type of thing. Like if people get peeved up, hey, where the fuck's your question mark,
oh,
bro? Like, dude, what the
oh,
fuck? I don't know if it's a
I
question or not. Like, what? But like clearly.
something like are you okay can be seen as both rude and or
Oh, that's
caring. You know,
true though.
like are you okay, like mentally,
Yeah,
like
are you
let's say I'm
okay,
trying to make fun
bro?
of you,
Yeah.
or are you okay, like oh man, is
That's
something
true.
wrong?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's why it's like it's so many ways to interpret it. And like that's like the flaw with texting, right? You truly do not know what the other party is trying to portray to you, right? Like it's so much easier when you listen to their voice, right? Like the example I gave you, like fuck you or like fuck you, bro. You know, like you don't know if it's a friendly thing or a bad thing, you know. Uh, but yeah, it's actually so interesting. Speaking on the topic of texting, though, like, do you text, um, or like you know how we're talking about like, commas and stuff, like how about capitalization or like misspelling? What do you think about
I
them?
type. I know. The thing is though, I'm a very bad texter, by the way.
Same.
I text as if I'm typing an essay. I use commas. I use commas and correct like question marks, exclamation points, or things like that.
For me, it just depends. If I'm texting you, Steven, right? Like you know,
Mm.
casual
You
friend.
you misspell every other word.
A casual friend, right? I don't give a fuck in what way, format, whatever. I'm talking to my boss, respectful, right? Like if I'm texting my
Hmm.
boss. That's just how I do it, you know? Because at the end of the day, whatever I say, you probably understand what I'm saying, right? And it's just like, as long as you get it. If I'm like, if I say it, if I do something, if I type to you like something stupid, like basically like, oh, I'm coming or whatever, but I say it in a way where you're like, what the fuck? I don't understand what you're trying to say, then that's a problem, right? But if I'm saying like I'm coming, but I'm spelling it wrong, and you already know that, like in the context given, like you're coming to pick, like
Hmm.
I'm coming to pick you up, right? You would already know, right? Like it makes no sense for
Hmm.
you to be like, What do you mean? Like what? Like
Uh,
don't you already
uh,
know, like
in my
context wise?
texting, I try to make sure that everything is good, like the spelling of each word, like commas, like the question marks.
Yeah,
I try to make sure that everything I text is good.
but I can also see my other side, like of my flaw of my point that I just made, right? Like
Hmm.
at the end of the day, though, like sure they can use context clues, like sure, but if you're the one sending the text, you can also just have the etiquette for it to make sure that they know, because you're the one that's typing it, right? And how I was like saying
Hmm.
earlier, like oh, uh, sometimes people don't get what you're saying truly, so you got to make it more clear, right? So that's why I
Hmm.
understand like oh why people properly text like that way. Not because
Hmm.
before I actually just thought about it now, like I'm kind of being hypocritical, you know. But then I was like, yeah, that makes sense too, though, right? Like, if you're sending a text to someone, they should, like, you know, you shouldn't be like assume that you know, like, don't be stupid, right? Because I feel like instead of just doing that, why don't you just text normally, right? Like, it's more on your side, on your end, and on theirs, right? Plus, like, you don't want to be a
Hmm.
dickhead, right? That type of thing. But that's what I see
A
now.
thing a thing I get a lot too is if someone misspells something and I can't properly read it, it's sometimes it's sometimes really hard for me to read it, or like or when someone uses I forgot what it's called. It's like AFK or like IDK. So like
I
that.
see.
Abbreviations. Sometimes when people use abbreviations, I can't decipher it.
I see.
But then I think in the last couple of years I've really improved on it. But then yeah.
Yeah, I feel like us now, Gen Z and stuff, like, like everyone knows the text lingo. You know what I mean? Like we're on top
Wh-
of that. Like we created our own type of system in a way.
when did you first get your phone?
Uh, to text and stuff, probably middle school. Yeah,
I got mine in fourth grade.
I used flip phones when I was in elementary. So
I used the iPhone. I got my first phone was the iPhone 4 or 5.
my first texting device was the iPod Touch. So
Wait,
so
wait. Do you remember which iPhone had the Siri first? Was it 4 or 5?
I had no clue. I wasn't even an iPhone user, dude. I was
Oh yeah,
Nokia,
you're
flip
Samsung.
phone, Samsung, Motorola, anything like that. I'm like all over the place with that shit, but like for me, I don't really care too much. Oh, I'll ask one more last thing then. This is just interesting, the war on Apple versus Android, how everyone insults each other over and over again, right? Like, what
Hmm.
do you think of like that? Like, quick thought.
I think Samsung gets a very bad rep. I think it's a very good phone.
Yeah,
But then a lot, but then uh the the Apple community just clowns on Samsung for some reason. It's
yeah,
very unnecessary.
yeah. I feel like it's like a meme at
And
this
then a lot
point,
of people
right?
clown Samsung camera because a lot of apps are more for iOS because of a lot more people have iOS. You know, like,
Yeah,
but then in fact the Samsung camera is very good, right? But then a lot of software is not compatible with it, and that's why it comes out blurry like that.
yeah. And it's interesting because like majority of people probably have Apple, right? Like at
Hmm.
least back then when the wars like was more prominent, all right? But it just goes to show like when there's a majority rule, there's stereotypes that are gonna be made with that too. Like, oh, we're all Apple users, so we're all normal people. But if you're that one guy with the Samsung, because of majority minority, right? You're gonna get made fun of, right? Because you're like seen as like, dude, you're weird, bro. Why do you have that phone? You know what I mean? Like it can be applied to many
Hmm.
other things, but that's like one of the things we're just talking about. For me, I don't give a shit, man. Like, as long as the phone is good, like, as it works, bam. Like, sure. Like, what does it really matter at the end of the day, right? That's me. But yeah, you think?
Oh, I'm pretty sure I care a lot. Like if my girl had a Samsung, I'd dump her.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, true. If she had a flip
Like
phone, I'd be so mad, dude. Holy.
imagine asking for a girl's number and she pulls out a flip phone. I'm done. Like I'm livid.
Yeah, you're just so like the moment you see the flip phone, yeah, you're so stupid. I can't, dude. I'm already a better human being than you the moment I see your phone. But it's crazy how people fucking judge people off of that though.
Oh yeah, like
Like holy
I
dude.
will never judge someone off their like economic status.
Or
I
like
mean, I try to make jokes about it,
yeah, but
like,
that's just like
or not
so
try. I make jokes about it.
for
No.
to me I see it as like it's so naive, Like come on, bro. Are you really gonna be
It's
like
just a phone.
yeah, like what the fuck? Like you don't even know the person yet. It's like you're basically judging, right? You're basically like uh discriminating, that's the word. But yeah. Well, I mean that's all my questions for today. I feel
Yeah,
like
me too.
we talked through a lot, man. Like time passed by. Holy shit. I feel like it's just the two of us right now, but I feel like it's interesting to have one more person to talk with too. Just it might be
Mm.
more aspects, but like overall, this is not bad. I'm going to end it here. Um, this is our very first podcast. I'm gonna set up other stuff later. I'll probably delete a few stuff and like change it, like just edit it. But this is like our very first podcast, so pretty cool. Um, Anything else you want to say before I stop the recording? Or
I
no?
think uh, I think people need to be more optimistic about the world.
Okay. All right. All right, I'm
Yes, and a
gonna
good
stop the
message, right?
recording. All right. Boom.